And good afternoon. Welcome to the booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. Thank you for making us part of your day. As always, we try to bring you some of the most unique and interesting things going on in our community and our region. I'm very excited today to speak with an individual who we were talking a little bit off the air. I can consider it talking to, in terms of a baseball player, talking to a Mike Trout, honestly. And that's my good friend, Lemmie Pulliam. Lemmie, welcome to the booth.
Thanks for having me, Darren. Good to see you, man.
And for those who don't know Lemmie, may I call you Lemmie?
Yeah, of course. You've known me long enough. You can call me whatever you want to call me.
Thank you. Lemmie is an operatic singer, the style of tenor, and he's originally from Kennett, Missouri. Is that correct?
Correct.
Tell the people a little bit about yourself, if you don't care.
You already said I was born and raised right here in Kennett. Grew up here in a loving family of 10 children, the youngest of 10 children. My dad was a pastor and pastored his church in Wyatt, Missouri, which is about 85 miles north of here, for 50 years before he passed away. And I grew up in the Kennett school system here, where I joined the choir in middle school, and that's sort of been the thing that sort of changed my life and opened some doors for me later on that I never thought would open, because that's where I was introduced to opera by my choir director, Veretta Sexton. And that introduction literally changed my life.
And again, we're here. Welcome to the booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, joined by a very special guest, Lemmie Pulliam. Lemmie is a renowned worldwide opera singer of the tenor style. And you talked a little bit about Miss Veretta Sexton. You talked a little bit about how you first became aware of the style of music called opera. Yeah. Tell the listeners a little bit about that and how it changed your life.
Well, it started out, as I said, in middle school. I was singing bass in the choir. I knew nothing about music, didn't know how to read music at the time, and she worked with us and kept us, taught us how to sing somewhat as youngsters. And once we got into high school, I think, actually, let me go back. The thing that really set her off and made her think that there was more to my voice than I was letting on was the fact that I used to do impersonations. And I was a bit of a class clown. So I would make fun of teachers, impersonate teachers. I would impersonate actors and singers. And one day my classmate said, "Oh, Miss Sexton, you got to hear Lemmie do Stevie Wonder." And she says, "Okay, if we get done early, then I'll let him do his impersonation." And she even said herself, I wasn't really expecting much, but I started singing. And that's when she heard I had this extra range in my voice that I wouldn't let on because I was hiding in the bass section. Anything that was above a middle C, which I know now, I would say, "Oh, that's too high. I can't sing that." But I was singing well above middle C, doing my Stevie Wonder impersonation. So that's where she moved me to the tenor section. It was like, "Oh no, this kid actually has a voice." And we got to high school. She moved me into the tenor section and really began to, I'd say, push and encourage me in choir, giving me solos and asking me, helping me try out for the school plays and musicals, and then I guess it would probably be my sophomore year when she finally came to me one day with a cassette tape and a piece of sheet music and said, "You're good at imitating things. I want you to go home and listen to this and see if you can learn it." And it was a recording of Luciano Pavarotti.
Right.
He was probably one of the world's best renowned tenors of all time. And that recording changed my life. I listened to it and I fell in love with the sound that I was hearing. And of course, the voice was just absolutely gorgeous. But as a kid, to learn that these people are doing this without any amplification and that they can project their voices over these orchestras and into large auditoriums and sing that loudly without amplification, I had to know how to do that, because I was like, that would be a neat party trick. Right. Just to be able to project my voice like that. I wasn't really thinking about the singing aspect at the time. I was thinking, oh, this could be entertainment for my friends. And but that cassette tape, when I began listening to it after learning the song that she wanted me to learn, I continued to listen to the other songs that were on that tape. And it literally, I just fell in love with opera from that point on. And I couldn't have asked for a better cheerleader, encourager, teacher, mentor, and friend to kind of guide me in those early stages in Veretta Sexton.
And we're here with Lemmie Pulliam on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking a little bit about Lemmie's early years of determining, hey, I've got a special gift here. It's something that very few individuals could ever imagine being able to do. For those of you interested, there's several clips of Lemmie on YouTube that you can pull up and watch. He's amazing. I've heard him sing in person before. It's absolutely amazing as well. So talk a little bit about after you determined your sophomore year or so, you went through and you're beginning to really get into the opera style. What did you do after you graduated high school? How did you pursue or continue to make it so that it continued to grow and you just became bigger and bigger and bigger and more of a sensation all over the world?
Well, after high school, I went on to study at the Oberlin Conservatory of Music in Ohio, which was one of the top conservatories in the country, music conservatories. And I was privileged enough to study with one of the most renowned pedagogues, vocal pedagogues, and voice teachers in the world at the time, by the name of Richard Miller. He literally wrote the books that many music schools use as their textbooks for teaching singing. And so I was really, again, blessed to have had to have come into contact with people like Veretta and others throughout the state of Missouri who had heard me through like the district solo and ensemble, state solo and ensemble, and things of that nature, who eventually introduced me to Oberlin. And, it just seemed like the right place where I needed to be. Oberlin, very much like Canada, is a small town. So for me, it was kind of the perfect transition, not much of a culture shock to go from one small town to a bit of a smaller town. But we were near Cleveland, near a relatively large city. So went on to Oberlin and studied there. Had many opportunities to perform lead roles in the operas there, and spend summers in Europe studying languages, and it just just so many opportunities that were given to me afforded to me because of that, going into Oberlin and being involved with such a prestigious music program.
And again, we're here with Lemmie Pulliam talking a little bit about his career as a operatic tenor style singer. We're Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. Talked a little bit about being in Oberlin, and you indicated you eventually went to Europe and had an opportunity to study some languages and things of that nature. And again, excuse my ignorance for not knowing more about the operatic style of singing, but are most of the songs, and I hate to even use the word because I don't want to sound lack of not the arias or things of that nature. Are they all in some language other than English?
No, they're in many languages, including English. There are American operas, there are British operas, there are Italian operas, French operas, German operas, Spanish operas, Russian operas, Czech operas. Just about every language pretty much almost has an opera nowadays. So it really depends on the repertoire that you sing. At this point in my life, I'm basically concentrating on dramatic Italian repertoire, which is some of the most difficult Italian operas in the canon. And I'll eventually begin to do some dramatic works and things of that nature as well. But it's one of those things that in this field, linguistic studies are very important. Because you have to know what you're saying. You can't just get go on stage and you can get on stage and just make pretty sounds and everybody, oh, that's lovely, But the idea is to also tell a story. And in order to do that, you have to know what you're saying. So language study was a huge part of my time at Oberlin. I studied not only English diction, they had even taught us how to pronounce English correctly. In diction classes, French language, French diction, Italian language, Italian diction. Same with German diction, Russian diction. All of these languages we had to study and were required to study. in order to because they went towards the degree program we were in. But I actually had a love of languages growing up as well, because my older sister was taking French in middle school, and I kind of took a liking to looking at her textbook.
Right.
And so when I started in middle school taking French, there were times when Madame Swindle would have to say, no, let me slow down. You're too far ahead of, we haven't gotten to that point in the book yet, because I was learning things from my sister who was 7 years older than me. So it, that kind of began my love of languages. And I've been really lucky, really blessed to, to travel to some wonderful places and use a lot of the linguistic skills that I've acquired over the years. So, yeah.
And again, we're here with Lemmie Pulliam on Welcome to the Booth, KDX AM 1590. Lemmie, a native of Kennett, comes back and has done great things as far as giving back to the drama, the choir programs here in Kennett. Also sings locally, I know, when asked and requested. And you're back. You were on tour or doing some things outside of Kennett. You came back. You're going to be home for a couple weeks. Why are you back in the Kennett area?
I am back because I am currently curating a closing concert for the Fall into Arts Festival, which is coming up on the weekend of September the 6th. So on September the 6th, we'll be holding a closing concert at the high school auditorium. And it's in honor of Calendria Johnson, who was a former board member, the late Calendria Johnson, who was a board member for Fall into Arts and an arts advocate in this area who worked tirelessly to promote the arts and to provide opportunities for young people in the community to participate in the arts. And this is our way of paying homage to her, as she was taken from us much too soon. And so now we're doing these concerts in her honor, and collecting proceeds. Even though the concert's free, we do take donations that go towards a scholarship in her name.
And again, here with Lemmie Pulliam, a world-renowned tenor. I'm sounding a dramatic tenor, correct right now. And we're talking about him being home for the September 6th Fall into Arts program that will be held obviously on the square at Kennett. And he is going to be in charge of a concert that's going to take place at the Kennett High School auditorium. And that will kind of conclude, my understanding, the Fall into Arts Festival. And Lemmie, in talking a little bit about the concert, what's the plan for the concert? What's kind of the setup and what's kind of the lineup that you have envisioned?
Well, the concert is entitled Once Upon a Song, and it's entirely, this year, will be entirely Disney-themed music. So whether it's from Disney movies or Disney Broadway shows or performances, all of the music will be Disney-themed. So we're looking forward to myself and others who have been invited to participate, including the performance group out of Paragould, Act 2 Performing Arts group, another local artist who will be coming back is Joshua Pemberton, and several others, and then I have some special guests who I'm inviting in to come in and perform as well. So we're looking forward to an evening of just great music and having a good time with myself and others. We're going to have people that people will recognize from seeing them in past high school musicals and plays. Dawson Ross and his wife Morgan will be taking part, and you both of which have stellar voices, and so we're really looking forward to giving the people of Kennett a good show and opportunity to kind of celebrate some of the great talent we have here in town.
And not to put you on the spot, and again, we're here with Lemmie Pulliam talking a little about the evening he has planned to kind of wind up the Fall into Arts Festival on September 6th. What time and exactly what date do you know where we're at as far as that in the schedule?
It's the closing concert for the festival, so it'll be at 7:00 p.m. on September 6th at the Kennett High School Auditorium.
And you indicated there's a interesting, great lineup of performers scheduled. You indicated Morgan Ross. I saw her sing. Obviously, Morgan Taylor prior to getting, who has an absolute amazing voice.
Yes.
Her husband Dawson is also extremely talented. Tell us a little bit about, and I don't know why this always comes to fruition or to the forefront when I talk about Kennett High School. Why is there such a outstanding group of performers, singers, songwriters, things like that from the Kennett High School and Kennett area, would you say?
I don't know if there's any other way to put it than it's just, because I believe it's all God-given talent, and that, some people say, oh, is there something in the water in Kennett? We have a lot of natural God-given talent, but I think the thing that really set us apart is that we had teachers who really cared and poured into their students and took the talents that a student had and tried to help them build upon those. They were never discouraged, but only encouraged to pursue the opportunities that were given to them, whether it was in musicals or plays in high school or singing solos with the choir. Veretta made sure that she gave opportunities to anyone who was really interested in pursuing or showed some level of talent when it came to singing. She was infamous for walking the hallways at lunch and hearing some random kid walking down the hallway singing and going and snagging them by the collar and dragging them to the office and say, this kid needs to be in choir.
Absolutely.
And you would be so shocked at the number of voices she discovered that way. Where we would be sitting in our office at lunchtime. I spent a couple years working with her as her assistant, and we would be sitting there eating lunch and with the door open, and we would hear voices singing in the hallway. And she would literally get up and follow the voices and hunt these kids down and say, why aren't you in choir? You need to be in choir. With a voice like that, I need you in choir.
Right.
And,
right.
It was always fun to watch and to see once the kids got there and were exposed to that positive atmosphere, been able to really sing and be themselves and feel welcome in this group. Many of them just began to blossom.
And again, we're here with Lemmie Pulliam, an operatic tenor, dramatic style, who's currently a freelance singer in that he has numerous things scheduled. And again, it's Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. Lemmie, if we were interested in knowing some of the places that you were playing or going to be playing in the near future, how do we do that?
Easy. You can go to my website, which is www.lemmiepulliam.com. That's LIMMIEPULLIAM.com. My schedule is there. My full schedule will always be there. You also have access to media clips, performances, my bio, and how to contact my management team and whatnot if you want to book me for something. But it's all there on LemmiePulliam.com, and I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and X as well.
And I know that you're extremely modest, but just for the listeners, just kind of explain some of the places that you've performed, some of the countries you've been to, some of the things that you've been lucky enough to do as a result of this career. Because again, I don't think people understand the level of talent and the stature that you have worldwide with your singing right now.
Well, as I said, I've been extremely blessed to sing all over the country, from New York to Los Angeles from Phoenix, Arizona, all up to Minneapolis or into Canada. I've sung throughout Europe, Germany, Switzerland, Italy, different places, and I've been extremely blessed and. Coming up in a small town, none of this has ever lost on me or taken for granted, because it's, I'm still just as shocked many times when certain things happen, as others may be when they see it. To have been featured in the New York Times, have a profile done to be featured on NPR radio, and to even have former First Lady Michelle Obama give me a shout out on her social media after reading my story in the New York Times, and was just still one of the most surreal things that I've experienced, and I'm extremely grateful for everything that's happened.
And again, we're here with Lemmie Pulliam, and we've been talking a little bit about Lemmie's career as an opera singer all over the world. And we're again, I think it's very important. The thing about the drama and the singing with Miss Veretta Sexton in Kennett also, and I think people need to know this, is that it was encouraged for people to sing, in a lot of schools and a lot of things. If you were a junior high boy, it was kind of like, oh my, singing? Really? Are you going to do that? But at Kennett, and hopefully other places, it's starting to grow into, hey, these guys have some real talent and we need to utilize that. And I think it was really fostered here.
It was. The culture here was much different, because when you went to see the choir, even starting in middle school and up, you would see the same guys you saw on the basketball court, on the football field, on the baseball teams. What most people would say were the jocks. We were all in choir. Choir, band, as well as taking part in our athletic endeavors. And that was something that I thought was extremely special about the Kennett School District in general, that I would really love to see them get back to. Because I think that was important, because the students that produced here were extremely well-rounded, and left here with far more opportunities than people from other places were having.
And again, we're talking to Lemmie Pulliam, who's talking a little bit about his career, and we're talking a little bit more about the Fall into Arts program that's September 6th in Kennett. It's an opportunity for people to come into the Kennett City Square. There's going to be a lot of food vendors, things of that nature set up. There'll also be some performances live down there. Is that correct?
Yes, there will be performances live on the square as well, and throughout the day, in several locations, I believe, on the square. Also on the lawn out in front of the Presbyterian Church. There'll be areas set up there, and it should be a great day. Great weekend, and we're really looking forward to hopefully having some good weather this year.
And I know in the past, that 1st of September, it can be like sometimes really hot, sometimes it's really cold. You never Southeast Missouri weather,
it's
right?
a little crapshoot, bit of a crapshoot.
So obviously, we always try to put it that time of year. Is there going to be anything that's going to be newer or more unique that they're trying to push this year for the Fall into Arts Festival, which will be September 6th in Kennett, that you're aware of that we really want to focus on?
Well, I know one thing they started last year, which I think they're doing again this year, is a tour of historic homes in Kennett, which I found to be quite interesting, because it's you see a lot of old big homes here, but to be able to learn the history behind some of these homes, I think is quite fascinating. And that's a tour I think that Lisa Dry is going to be directing, and I think you're going to be speaking with her at some point.
That's correct.
But I think that's absolutely fascinating that we'll have this historic homes tour again for people who want to learn a bit about the history of the town.
And we're here with Lemmie Pulliam, talking a little bit about his career as an operatic style singer of the dramatic tenor version right now. And you indicated that you're focusing on a certain area of your style right now. Is that correct?
Mainly Italian repertoire.
And explain to the listeners, why have you decided at this point in your career that you're wanting to do the Italian repertoire?
I think it's because it's what I feel my voice is most suited to. Not to say that singing German or French isn't my voice isn't suited to those things, but I think it's what showcases my voice the best is the Italian repertoire.
And just for some examples, you've got the Italian repertoire, and you're in the process of learning these Italian songs or arias or operas. How long would it take you to learn some of those particular pieces of music?
Typically 6 months to a year to learn a full opera,
And you explained it to me earlier.
and some even longer.
So it could be a year plus.
It could be 2 years plus. There are some roles that that I will likely sing that I will probably start preparing 2 to 3 years before I actually perform them.
And you were explaining earlier, and again, we're here with Lemmie Pulliam on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking about the operatic style that he's singing now. You indicated that there's no type of amplification on your voice when you're singing at all. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So when we go to these YouTube clips and we go to these clips and we're listening to you, this is just straight
acoustical sound. Yeah.
How, and again, I think I'm going to know the answer. How can you get such a beautiful sound so loud out of your voice like that?
It's a God-given talent, and it's one of those still things that's kind of a mystery to me to think that that I'm able to do this, and that I'm blessed and lucky enough to be able to do this. But it's just one of those things. It's hard to explain without getting too technical and into the scientific aspects of the acoustics and airflow and breath support and things of that nature. But all of it plays. The human body is my instrument, and I've spent years studying on basically how to play my instrument and how to achieve the most acoustically. I don't want to say perfect, but acoustical balance so that the voice projects in a way that, it doesn't matter if you're sitting on the first row or in the back row of the fourth balcony, that you're going to hear me just as well in one seat as you are in the other.
And you indicated earlier, and again, we're here with Lemmie Pulliam on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, that you went to Oberlin Conservatory, correct?
Correct.
How long were you there?
I was there for 4 years.
Did you have any other training as far as going to any other conservatories after that?
No.
After you went to Oberlin and you graduated or completed that time, you were just set out on the world and...
Not necessarily. You did go through other training programs like young artist programs, educational programs. I spent summers in Europe studying languages and performing. So there were other programs that I took part in, but not any further schooling per se. Formal schooling.
And again, it's, I'm an attorney by trade, so I got a 4-year degree. I then went to law school for 3 years. And then you never stop learning. You're always doing continuing education. You're always learning by practicing and doing things of that nature.
Yes. And I still have a teacher who I work with. Even those years when I wasn't in school, I always had a voice teacher or someone that I would check in with and, an ear that I trust to be able to go to and say, something doesn't feel right. And we would work on it, and they would say, okay, this is what I'm hearing, blah, 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 blah. And we go from there. But there's, again, much like a lawyer, much like doctors, we never stop learning. We are always studying, whether we've been in this industry 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years, you will never stop studying.
And I'm just extremely fascinated by this, and I probably won't know the answer. Are there any individuals that are currently singing out there that you look at and you think that person is absolutely amazing? I can't believe they have the ability to sing like that.
Oh, there are tons of people in this industry. That was one of the big things about when I first went to Oberlin. When I went to Oberlin, I was probably what you consider here at Kennett. I was the big fish in the pond. But when you get to Oberlin, everyone who's there was the big fish in their pond. And so you're meeting all these people who are just as talented as you are or more so. So it's not a matter of, so you're always going to encounter people in this industry and in any industry that we're going to be like, wow, that person, how does he do that? And I'm constantly watching some of my friends who, when I'm singing with them, I love to just stand on the side of the stage and watch, because I can always learn something from just watching how they breathe, how they how they breathe, how they stand, how they finesse certain phrases, just the small little things that they do that separate them from every other artist that's on that stage.
And again, we're here with Lemmie Pulliam talking about one of the most fascinating things that I've ever imagined talking to someone about, that being a individual singing music that is written 500-600 years ago. How long ago some of these songs have been written in the past?
A couple hundred years, and some as recently as 75 years ago. Some, there are pieces still being written today. Some operas that are just premiered in the last several years, American operas that have been written. They've written some what they would call jazz operas, like Fire Shut Up in My Bone, which debuted at the Metropolitan Opera. And then you have classics like Aida or Carmen, which were written over the last 100-200 years.
And again, we're here with Lemmie Pulliam on Welcome to the Booth, KDX AM 1590. Lemmie, what kind of situation in regards to the opera following or the things is going on in this area, the state of Missouri or St. Louis or Springfield or Kansas City, or anywhere else in the Midwest? Is it kind of is it fluid? Is there an area out there where it's growing? Is it very popular? Explain to me what you've seen in your career.
Well, it's we're lucky that we in all the cities you mentioned, Springfield, St. Louis, Kansas City, Memphis, which is not far from us, all have opera companies in them, and I've been so far I've been blessed to sing with opera companies in each of those cities, and it really depends. I think that once people are exposed to it, they tend to come back. And I think that's always been a difficult part is exposing people to the art form itself, and doing so and attracting people to performances, with whatever the marketing is and things of that nature. I find that if you can get people into the seats, they're going to come back. If you're presenting opera in a way that really showcases what usually draws people to the opera, which are the voices. Chances are you're gonna have an opera fan who's going to be returning if you can get him in a seat.
And again, we're here with Lemmie Pulliam on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. And I'd like to talk a little bit more about the concert that's going to close out the Fall Into Arts Festival September 6th here in the city of Kennett. You indicated some of the people are going to sing. Obviously, is it my understanding that you're going to do some singing?
Yes, of course.
Outstanding. And obviously, I don't know if you're going to tell me or not. Is there anything in particular that you have on your plate that you're really excited about singing that people are going to be like, they really need to come out and see this? There's one in particular, but I'm not going to say what it is, because it's something I'm really looking forward to, because it's kind of a blast from the past for me, and I'm really really looking forward to I'll just say reuniting with an old friend, and for a special duet. And we're very excited. And again, that's going to be at 7 p.m. on September 6th at the KHS Auditorium, to be winding up the Fall Into Arts Festival. And talking a little bit about Fall Into Arts, and I know that we're going to talk about Talisa Dry, and I believe also Laura Raspberry is going to talk a little bit as well. The Fall Into Arts Festival is put together by a group of individuals who've come together to try to promote the arts in Kennett. Is that correct?
That is correct. A group called CAFTA.
And just kind of explain, if you can, and I'm not trying to put your feet to the fire, a little bit about what CAFTA is and what they're trying to accomplish.
CAFTA is an arts organization, a nonprofit arts organization in town, whose sole goal is the promotion and exposing the community to the arts. And they're doing it through their annual festival, Fall Into Arts. This is my second year being involved with curating this concert. I'm not necessarily a board member, but this is something they've asked me about.
Well, that's outrageous, Lemmie. We need to have a revote on that.
No. I don't mind. I don't mind not having any much responsibility at all. I'm happy to do what I'm doing. But it's just, yeah, I think that's a better question for some of the board members to answer. But they do wonderful work in putting together this festival each year.
And again, we're here with Lemmie Pulliam, and I've talked a little bit about Lemmie's career. Been all over Europe, all over the United States, but all over the world. Is opera as popular in the Orient or the Far East, Japan, things of that nature?
It is extremely popular there in Asia. There is a boom in Asian artists who are entering the world of opera. Lots of Asian opera singers. And it's, whether they're singers, whether they're working as pianists or opera coaches, vocal coaches within the industry, it's extremely popular. And, but it's the same way within Europe and in parts of the United States where the popularity is extremely high. But yeah, there's a lot of us out there, and it's a growing community. So yeah,
And again, we're here with Lemmie Pulliam. Welcome to the booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. We've talked a little bit about the special performance we're going to have September 6th to close out the Fall into Arts Festival at 7 o'clock. Special guest, we're not going to mention anything about who it is. Lemmie will be reuniting with someone, and there'll be a performance that you will not want to miss. Absolutely free, no admission. But of course, they do take donations because all the money is put back to CAFTA, is my understanding. Is that correct?
All of the donations from this concert go towards an art scholarship in Calendria Johnson's name.
That's correct, and I apologize for not saying that correctly. Calendria was a longtime friend of many people here in the area, and as you indicated, passed away way too soon, and we miss her to this day. In talking a little bit about the Fall into Arts program, you talked a little bit about American operas and some things that are going on currently. Do you do any kind of writing? Do you do any kind of producing? Do you do anything behind the scenes? Or are you, and I'm not saying this inappropriately, do you just like to perform things and be the entertainer that brings out the piece the way the composer wants it to be brought out?
I try to do it as the composer would like it to be done. But I'm not a writer. I'm not a producer or a composer or anything of that nature. I'm just an artist who, and artists are kind of the conduits between the composer and the audience who bring the story to life.
And again, are there some composers or some conductors of some symphony orchestras or things of that nature that you just absolutely love to work with?
Oh, of course. That's a long list.
And again, I'm not gonna. And I hate to do this, but just give us a couple, because I think it's important for individuals to know that you are dealing with world-renowned individuals dealing with this. And again, you're from Kennett, Missouri, with just no disrespect, but everyone out there needs to know that your talent was found in Kennett, and that just because you're from a small town does not mean that you can't go anywhere in the world and be successful.
That's true. And I've worked with some wonderful conductors, including Robert Moody, who's the music director of the Memphis Symphony, all the way to Franz Welsermöst, who's the music director for the Cleveland Orchestra, and even Yannick Nézet-Séguin, who is the music director of the Metropolitan Opera and also the Orchestre Métropolitain in Montreal. So I've been extremely, extremely blessed. I could just go on and on about the number of conductors I've worked with whom I've worked that have inspired me and continue to inspire me over the years. And through my years of undergrad, we were lucky to work with some great conductors in Bob Spano, Stephen Lord, Michael Morgan. List can just go on and on.
And again, we're here with Lemmie Pulliam on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. And we've been talking to Lemmie about his career. Obviously, the YouTube clips, You can get on his website, LemmiePulliam.com. Follow him that way. And also, you need to come out on September 6th and see this concert that's going to be put on at the KHS Auditorium at 7 p.m. to wind down the Fall into Arts Festival, which will be absolutely amazing. You indicated, was there a concert last year?
Yes, that was the first concert, and it was a concert that centered around Broadway music. And it started as specifically to remember Calendria,
Right.
who had a great love of Broadway and Broadway musicals, and again, and also everything Disney, which is what we're doing this year. But last year was the first year we did the concert to honor her, and CAFTA wanted to continue that this year.
And again, not to put you on the spot, do you feel that this will be a situation in which you'll hope to continue this down the road each and every year?
I hope so. I think it's a wonderful way to showcase the talent that we have here, and to nurture the talent that's coming up. So it gives everyone gives them an opportunity to get on stage in front of an audience, a very appreciative audience, and to show what they can do talent wise.
And again, we're here with Lemmie Pulliam talking a little bit about the Fall into Arts Festival on September 6th, City of Kennett, the concert to honor Calendria Johnson, a longtime Kafka friend and member who promoted the arts. Last year, the concert focused on, as you indicated, Broadway musicals. What were some of just for people to kind of figure out what's going to happen, what were some of the individuals, and what were some of the talent that was last year at the Broadway, focusing on the Broadway
Let's see.
musical?
Last year, including myself, there was Jacob Deck, who performs regularly in many shows in Branson. Joshua Pemberton was here. Misty McDowell Ryan. We had a very special guest in Jenny Powers, who had appeared on Broadway in a number of musicals, and currently resides in the area in Jonesboro with her family. So we're looking forward to this year. Again, hopefully putting on a show that's just as good, if not better, than last year's.
And in talking a little bit about Kafka and the Fall into Arts, this kind of coincides with another program that's going on. That's Paint the Town. Mm-hmm. And Paint the Town is a situation in which Katie Coleman and some other individuals are coming and painting murals and things on the walls here on the buildings here in Kennett. And I think it kind of shows that the arts are very much in play and very popular in the area, all around this region. Katie is from Dexter originally. Mm-hmm. And again, as we indicated, I think a lot of the thanks and the gratitude needs to go out to Miss Veretta Sexton.
A lot of thanks needs to go to Veretta, but the arts in general, whether it's the fine arts or the visual arts, is just, it all starts somewhere with a teacher. I think that's kind of the common denominator. If you speak to anyone who's involved within the arts or has been involved within the arts, it all started with that teacher, with a teacher somewhere who saw something or heard something and then began to encourage that student. And for us, that's been Veretta Sexton. For many years within the arts, the fine arts, the visual arts, Veretta Sexton, Dennis Nail, Robert Klope, who were the band directors during the, as I like to say, the golden era of the Kennett music program. Mrs. Baker, who was running the art department here. If you go back and talk to students from that time period, some of whom have continued in music, some of whom have gone into other careers, whether in medical field, legal field, or whatever field, they all talk about how the important role that being involved in choir and band and within the arts in general have played such an important part in their life.
And again, we're here with Lemmie Pulliam talking a lot about the fine arts and the arts in general, and obviously his career as a tenor, singing opera all over the world on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. And I think, Lemmie, one thing that I think is very important is you've indicated those people who were in band, those people in choir, those people who are in the drama, with the shows and things of that nature. Not everything always goes as planned, which is exactly like life. But yet you learn how to adapt and move on and keep going. Correct?
You do. Nothing ever goes as planned, and that's one of the joys of live entertainment. But Brett always had one rule, and that's do it loud and proud. If you make a mistake, make it loud and proud. But never show that you made the mistake. So always do it with confidence, so to speak.
And and I've talked about this generation. I have a son who's a senior in high school. I have a daughter who's graduated, is 23, and a son who's 21.
Who I was lucky to have in choir when I was there working.
Right. Yeah. And these kids with these phones nowadays, they're so introverted and afraid that they're going to make a mistake or somebody's going to notice them. I think it's so important for them to be able to get out there and see, hey, I did my best, and that's all somebody can ask me is just do the best you can and have fun with what you're doing, correct?
Correct. It's important to have fun. But again, oftentimes the only way people know that we made a mistake is when we let on that we've made a mistake. If I'm singing something and the note doesn't come out the way I want it to, and I go, they're gonna be like, oh, wait, something's wrong? What just happened?
Right.
But if I keep going and just don't let on, and even if the note cracks a little, just keep singing through it, and going on, and people are gonna be like, oh, that was.
Absolutely. And again, we're here with Lemmie Pulliam, and we're getting down to the end, and I appreciate him giving me time talking about his career, which is absolutely amazing to me. I've been lucky enough to obviously see him, go up from high school to college and continue on, teach my children, which I'm very grateful for. What have you been doing this summer, and what are you going to do after the festival? What are your plans for after that, Lemmie?
Well, my upcoming season will be starting mid-September. I'm also in the process right now of helping to promote a documentary that I was featured in that was just released and is currently available on Amazon Prime and Apple TV, called Opera's Vanishing Voices, which was produced while I was working with Florida Grand Opera in Miami. And it's basically a documentary detailing Florida Grand Opera's attempt to kind of salvage their reputation and to bring the company back to its former glory when it was attracting some of the greatest talent in the world there. They brought in new leadership, and Maria and her team are working so hard to kind of remove some of the tarnish and restore it to its former glory. And I'm proud to have been a part of that documentary, and they came and featured me as part of that, along with Luciano Pavarotti and some of the others. So it was nice to have them here in town last year for a few days doing some recording, and they got to speak with not only myself but my family and several others in the community who have played such an important role in my life and my development.
And it's my understanding that is on Amazon Prime. Is that correct?
It is on Amazon Prime. It's available for purchase or for rent. It's also available on Apple TV as well.
And the name of that again for the listeners?
It is called Opera's Vanishing Voices.
And that's why you're working with the opera down there, the orchestra?
Miami and Florida Grand Opera.
And again, you mentioned a name that even I know. You said Luciano Pavarotti.
Yes.
So you're in a documentary along with Luciano Pavarotti.
Well, he's currently deceased, but his widow and his likeness is used, and lots of the footage from his career are all in this documentary as well. So I mean that's that's the power of opera. You may not be an opera fan, but many people still know the name Luciano Pavarotti. I
mean, I can remember. I think he was on 60 Minutes. I think there was a segment on 60 Minutes explaining his so that's something that, and again, I know that I've talked to this, and we're getting here with Lemmie Pulliam on Welcome to the Booth with KDX AM 1590 with Darren Todd. Again, this is like being with Mike Trout of a baseball world, sitting down with Lemmie, and if you ever have the opportunity to view him on YouTube, watch him in person, it's absolutely amazing. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life. It's truly, truly, truly one of the most amazing gifts I've seen. You do great with it. I'm excited to know that I've seen you from the beginning. And the last thing, and I want to talk to you, and then we're going to wrap up. That little guy, a sophomore year, that was hiding as a bass, and Miss V, as we call her, pulled you out and said, "Hey, you've got a real talent." What did you think when she did that for you?
Nothing really at the time. It was just kind of like, I wonder, okay, this is interesting. Maybe she just, she has some idea and wants to just kind of see what I can do. But growing up in their time, you don't often realize the things you're being taught unknowingly. And she was instilling skills in us that we were not even aware of until much later in life, when I would, was more actively studying voice and the techniques to support my voice, to think, oh, wait, okay, so this is what Veretta was teaching us back then without even telling us. So it's one of those things. It's just reminds you of how blessed you are to have had certain people in your life and who have taken the time to take an interest in you and to pour into your life and to support you and to encourage you and push you in ways that you needed to be pushed.
Absolutely. And we're here with Lemmie Pulliam, winding down on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd, KDX AM 1590. And we indicated that September 6th, there will be the concert in honor of Calendria Johnson's scholarship at the KHS Auditorium at 7 p.m. to wind down the Fall into Arts Festival. You indicated that you'll be part of a documentary that's out already on Amazon Prime, and the name of that is
Opera's Vanishing Voices.
And that can be on purchase or rent. It's also on
Apple TV.
And then after that, you have numerous concerts scheduled. You can look on LemmiePulliam.com. Is that correct?
LemmiePulliam.com. And, going to be in lots of different places, from Baltimore to Cleveland to, let's see, where else am I going? Baltimore, Cleveland, going to Guadeloupe in the French Caribbean this November. I'll be up in New Hampshire. Utah, Salt Lake City. So I'll be all over the place this season.
And again, I can't explain enough and express my gratitude for you coming in. I'm looking forward to the concert on September 6th. We thank you for coming in. And on behalf of my producer, Maureen Johnson, and my executive producer, Evan Todd, I'd like to thank you for making us part of your day here on Welcome to the Booth, KDX AM 1590. And until tomorrow, have a good day and a better tomorrow. Thank you.